When did following school rules become more important than saving your life? I was 3 bites into my turkey sandwich when my throat started tingling. Not the normal kind of tingle you get from spicy food, but that specific electric feeling I'd learned to recognize over 16 years of living with a severe peanut allergy. My hands went cold and I dropped the sandwich onto my lunch tray, while my best friend Autumn looked up from her phone with concern spreading across her face. "Something's wrong," I managed to say before my voice started sounding weird and thick like my tongue was swelling. She grabbed my water bottle and shoved it at me, but swallowing felt wrong, like there was something blocking my airway that shouldn't be there. I could feel my pulse hammering in my neck and my skin was getting hot and itchy all over, that familiar crawling sensation that meant my immune system was going haywire. The cafeteria noise seemed to get louder and more distant at the same time while I tried to remember the emergency protocol my allergist had drilled into me since I was 6 years old. My EpiPen was in my locker on the 3rd floor in the science wing, exactly where school policy required me to keep it, because medications weren't allowed in backpacks or pockets during school hours. The nurse's office had a backup, but that was on the opposite side of the building past the main entrance. Autumn was already standing up and pulling out her phone to call for help when the fire alarm exploded through the cafeteria speakers with that piercing electronic shriek that made everyone jump. The whole room erupted into chaos with chairs scraping and trays clattering as 300 students started moving toward the exits like they'd done in dozens of drills before. Mrs. Kovacs, the history teacher on lunch duty, was already at the cafeteria doors waving her arms and shouting for everyone to line up single file and move quickly to the parking lot assembly point. I tried to stand, but my legs felt shaky and wrong, and when I touched my face, my lips were already swelling. Autumn grabbed my arm and started pulling me toward Mrs. Kovacs while yelling that I was having an allergic reaction and needed my EpiPen from my locker. Mrs. Kovacs' face went tight when she saw us approaching instead of following the crowd outside, and she held up both hands like a traffic cop stopping cars at an intersection. "Everyone out now," she said in that sharp voice teachers use when they're not accepting arguments. "No exceptions. This is a fire emergency." Autumn tried to explain about the EpiPen and my allergy, but Mrs. Kovacs was already shaking her head before the words were fully out. "Fire protocol supersedes all other concerns," she said, and I watched her eyes flick to the security camera in the corner of the cafeteria like she was aware of being recorded. I could feel my throat closing more with each breath, this horrible tightening sensation like someone was slowly twisting a belt around my neck from the inside. "The locker is the other direction," I tried to say, but my voice came out as a wheeze that barely sounded human. Mrs. Kovacs stepped closer, and I could see genuine concern flicker across her face before she covered it with that professional teacher mask. "I understand you're scared," she said in a softer tone, "but fire drills don't stop for medical excuses because people die in fires when we don't follow protocol." She put her hand on my shoulder and started guiding me firmly toward the exit doors, where the last struggling students were disappearing into the bright afternoon sunlight. Autumn was arguing now, her voice getting higher and more desperate, saying that I was going into anaphylactic shock and would die without the EpiPen in the next few minutes. Mrs. Kovacs' jaw set in that stubborn way adults get when they've decided they know better than teenagers, and she said the paramedics could treat me outside where it was safe from fire danger, but right now we needed to evacuate immediately, because that's what the law required during a fire alarm. My vision was starting to tunnel at the edges, everything getting dimmer except for the bright rectangle of the exit door that Mrs. Kovacs was pushing me toward. I tried to dig my heels into the linoleum floor, but my legs weren't coordinating properly anymore and I stumbled forward instead. Behind me I heard Autumn yell something about getting the EpiPen herself, and when I